There is often a communication divide between boomers and millennials. You knew that. It's a generation gap. And after the break, we're going to tackle a few mistakes that should and could be avoided when communicating with the younger generation. What are they? We're going to find out. Stay tuned.
Well, welcome back to Great Day, Washington. Communication between generations in this day and age is key.
It is indeed. Our next guest says there are 3 big mistakes to avoid when boomers or Gen Xers communicate with millennials. 3. Only that's not so bad. The author of the book, upcoming book actually, it's called Human Communication. It's Tiffany Edgar's here, and she's going to tell us what these 3 big no-nos are. Hi, Tiffany.
Hi. How are you?
Welcome.
Oh, good. How are
Thank
you?
Thanks for having
Well,
me.
there are difference in our generations. Are there any similarities at all?
There are similarities. There's a lot of similar traits and values. Some of the similar traits is both generations have about 75 million members to each generation born in the U.S.
So the Gen Xers, not a lot of them.
No, not a lot.
75 million. That's
Yes.
a lot of people.
Yes. And so the boomers were just at 75 million, and the millennials actually exceeded 75 million. And they both have been the most educated of their time. So when the boomers were coming of age, they were the most educated compared to the previous 3. And then now the millennials are the most educated. So similar values that they have are ambition, optimism, and that challenge status quo mentality. So if you think about the boomers, they were very ambitious, going after that American dream, the white picket fence, the house, the 2.5 kids, that corporate cushy job. That was what drove them and they were ambitious for during their time, between 20 and 35. And now the millennials, they want to be part of meaningful pursuits and make positive social impact.
But I read that millennials want experiences where boomers just wanted to go on vacation and relax. So let's tackle the workplace here. We have one generation, and my friend here, Chris Leary, another generation, and me. And how do we communicate in a way where I grew up emailing, texting, that sort of thing, and he grew up probably writing letters, right? Or calling people on the phone.
Screaming.
Hey,
That's how we did it.
Yes.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
All of a sudden I'm Italian. Hey, forget about it.
Oh, you're not Italian? See, we do not communicate well. Help.
Well, there are 3 common mistakes that the older generations make when communicating with millennials. The first is expecting too much initiative around non-tech items. So this is a generation that's been born and raised with technology. They love it. It's everywhere for them. So if it's non-tech, it's non-relevant. I mean, we had to provide participation trophies to them to go to non-tech activities as kids, right?
Yes.
And so the second mistake...
Can I have a trophy for showing up
you
for this
can
interview?
have, yes,
Thank
there you go. That is for you.
I don't expect one.
Yes.
I'm a boomer. Go
Perfect
ahead.
example.
Yes, 2.
And
I feel validated.
the second mistake is not providing and following up on meaningful instruction. This generation prides themselves on living a life of purpose and meaning. And if you're not giving frequent, consistent, meaningful feedback and instruction, you'll lose them.
Interesting.
Yes.
What's number 3?
Don't call them on the cell phone. You can text, you can tweet, you can Snapchat, but don't use this for voice communication.
So then
You
what
are
do you use for
kidding
voice
me.
communication?
I know. You can
Text?
text.
Yeah,
You can.
tweet.
There's video.
So you're just saying, if you want to talk, find them in person.
Well, have you ever called a millennial and they don't pick up, and then you get a text back like, "Hey, what do you need? I missed your call." And you're like,
Yeah.
"Well, why didn't you just answer it?"
That's interesting. Well, I
yes.
guess that's what it is. Who knows what the next generation is like? Don't even text, tweet. Just don't talk to me. You
Just
know?
don't talk.
Use the chip in our brains.
That's
Yeah.
what Steve Harvey said. Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
And good for him. He's a busy man. He's a busy man. That's
true.
brilliant. So you did some study on all these people.
Yes.
These millennials.
Yes. I've studied a lot of the different generations and how to communicate with each of them. And there's a strategy that I've put together that is simple for all generations.
Well, one thing I want to say is, what would motivate a boomer to change the way they communicate? Because when my experience has been, boomers are the boss. Boomers are the parents. And so
Yes.
boomers are in control in the world of millennials right now as they're coming of age. So why should a boomer change? Shouldn't millennials change the way they communicate?
Well, I think in any type of communication, any scenario, there's a give and take. So the boomers, there's a lot of, like you said, they're the parents, they're the boss. The boomers have raised the millennials to be how they are, and the Xers as well. We've created this generation, and a lot of times at home we parent differently than we manage at work. So
I love the idea of give and take.
So
You're right.
there's some responsibility there on the boomers'
And
behalf.
generations
Okay.
should communicate. It's so
Yes.
important, and your book is helpful for that. Thank you
Yes.
for that.
Thank
Okay,
you.
well, we'll text
Humans.
you about where to find it.
I'm a big fan of humans. Where can we find it?
Humans look around and try to make eye contact when you see somebody. That helps because that doesn't help.
That's another quick tip. There you
happen
go.
anymore.
Thank you
Yes.
so much, Tiffany.
Thank you
there
very
you go.
much.
All right.
Human approach.